Hi everyone, I'm Autistic Ange. This is a podcast for adults who recently found out they're autistic and are looking for other autistic people like them. I wanted to do a quick episode about a TV show called Everything's Gonna Be Okay. And I'm also gonna talk a little bit about Please Like Me, those two shows. So if you haven't seen them before and you're like me and you don't like listening to other people talk about shows you haven't watched yet, you might want to just skip this episode. But I wanted to talk about it because it's the first time I saw legit autism representation on the TV. Not being stereotypical or anything like that. So last year, when I had recently found out that I'm autistic, and I was like, oh shit, I have to find people like me. I need to hear from somebody else to know for sure that I'm not alone. And I went in search of podcasts, and I came across Melissa's podcast called Oh, That's Just My Autism. You really should go listen to it if you haven't yet, because it's really, really good. Last year, she had mentioned something about these shows, and I kind of filed it away in my head, but there's just been so much stuff going on that I never have gotten around to watching the shows. So, what happened was my wife and I we have a couple of shows that we'll watch together, which I think a lot of couples are like that. She's got her shows that she likes to watch, which I don't like because they're fucking boring and they're just a bunch of cooking competition shows that I always make fun of her for watching. Because why wouldn't you want to watch a show with an actual story? But that's maybe for another time. And then I have the shows that I watch, which I feel are a lot better than what she watches. But so Please Like Me was the first show that, not the first show, but of the two that I'm talking about that we had watched. And it's got Josh Thomas in it, and he's autistic. I believe he created both shows, or co-created and produced both. But he's an Australian comedian / actor. And Please Like Me, I don't know how to describe it other than to say it's quirky and it's very, very awkward. It's the most awkward show I've ever seen. It was good, but so awkward and different. I don't know how else to say that except just go watch maybe and see for yourself. But the reason we had started watching that initially, aside from me hearing it on Melissa's podcast, is because Hannah Gadsby's in it. So we wanted to see what she was acting. So that's one of the main reasons we watched it. But we finally finished it because Hulu, I don't know why, but they'll some shows will have expiration dates all of a sudden. This is expiring in 10 days. I don't know why they do it. Do they need to make room for other shit or something? So Please Like Me was going to be gone in 10 days. So we hurried up and finished that whole show. And then we didn't have anything we were watching. And I was like, oh, do you want to check out this show called Everything's Gonna Be Okay? I had heard that it was pretty funny. And my wife was like, yeah, why not? And I have a lot to say about that show. Maybe not a lot, but I have some things to say. We pretty much just watched it in 2 or 3 days. There's only 20 episodes, and most of them are 20-ish minutes long. But the show is about Josh Thomas's character named Nicholas and his two half-sisters, Matilda and Genevieve. And their father died, and Josh Thomas's character is trying to figure out how to raise these two girls when he has no experience being a parent. And so it's pretty obvious that the show's going to be autism is going to be a central theme. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I knew that autism was going to be shown or talked about or something in the show. I just didn't know that it was going to be in like almost every single episode, and I couldn't stop watching. So for example, like Matilda, that character is openly autistic, and when I first saw her, I was like, oh, is this like a stereotypical version again? But like after a few episodes, I was like, nope, I totally think I might have actually come across people like that throughout my life, who I related to very much. So I was just like, oh, wow, like it's weird seeing that up there. And I just assumed that the Nicholas character knew he was autistic the entire show. And it wasn't until like the end of like season 2 when he realized it. And that was surprising because I was like, how the fuck did this character not know he was autistic the entire time? Like, he's so obviously autistic. And then I was like, oh, well, I guess that I can see how you would miss it if you're the person. Because, like, looking back, I am so obviously autistic. How the fuck did I miss that? If that makes sense. But so I noticed that a few episodes in, I was starting to feel like, I don't know how to say this. Like, my wife has been learning about autism, you know, like kind of as I've been learning about it, but not as much. And she's been pretty busy, so like she has a couple of books I gave her about what it's like being autistic that I had asked her months ago to read, so that hopefully she would understand me a little bit better. Because, you know, like when you find out, and then like sometimes you just want that person in your life to know, like, oh my God, this is why I am like this. This is why. Like, so there's really like nothing wrong with me. I'm just autistic, you know, like, and I just really wanted her to understand me because that's all I've been looking for my entire life. But you can't rush it, unfortunately. Like, I don't know what I thought in my head. I know this is a tangent. I don't know what I thought like in my head was going to happen. Like, she was going to take those ginormous books I gave her and just immediately go off and read them all at the same, you know, just read a whole one, take a little break, read the next one, and then want to talk to me about it, and then like go look for different articles. Like, I don't know why I thought she would do that. I know that that's not how that works, but that's how I was hoping it would. So it's like, oh man, you have to kind of accept that people will learn things in their own time as they have time. And I don't know if that is like a good way of explaining it, because like she's my wife. She does love me. She does like want to learn about me, and she is. It's just there's so much stuff going on in her life. She really doesn't have too much time to sit down and read a ginormous book right now, if it's not like for school or something. So when it started becoming apparent that that was going to be like a theme on that show, Everything's Going to Be Okay, I started feeling a bit awkward because I was thinking, like, what if she thinks I wanted to watch this show with her because it was a way to get her to learn about to learn more about autism? I guess I shouldn't say that she doesn't have time to read a book, because she does. Because if she has time to watch TV, she has time to read a book. But, you know, she's in school. And, like, I don't know if I don't think I wanted to read anything outside of school when I was going to school, just because of all the reading they give you anyways. So I kind of understand it now. But so I was like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be like this much about autism. And she's like, it's fine. Like, no big deal. But for whatever reason, I was feeling weird about it. Like, God, sometimes it's so annoying when I feel like this, because it's like, does she think I'm manipulating her somehow? And like, haha, I got you. Now you're going to fucking learn more about autism. And you're going to watch this show and you can't go anywhere. And then we're going to talk about it. Like, she doesn't think that way, but I do. I assume that she thinks that way about me. And I guess what I'm getting at is towards the end of season 2, I was fucking floored by those episodes because it was like, I don't want to say mostly, but about autism. Oh God, I don't know how to talk sometimes, all the time, most of the time. What am I trying to get at here? So Matilda, Nicholas's sister, who she's openly autistic, they know about it. And then you got the other sister, Genevieve, who it was never mentioned that she's autistic, but I think that her character definitely is autistic, so I don't know why it was not portrayed that way, unless she was just supposed to be portrayed as like really neurotic or something. But so Genevieve goes up to Nicholas one day and was like, oh, I was like reading this or taking this test or whatever, and I think you're autistic. And he was in denial about it. And so, they showed that throughout the day, like Genevieve was reading him different, you're autistic if you do this, 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 and this. And he was initially denying it. And I remember thinking like, dude, you're so fucking autistic. How can you not see it? And then I reminded myself that I didn't see it like at all my entire life. And so that was interesting to me how he was like kind of in denial about it when the character has a sister that they support. She's autistic. She needs help. They don't think differently of her because she needs more assistance or anything like that. And I think the Genevieve character was like, I thought this household was like autism positive because he was like in denial or like something like that. And he made the comment, well, it's easier to be proud of somebody else than it is yourself. And I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking true. Like, obviously it's true, but like sometimes when you hear things said a certain way, you're like, oh yeah, that is true. Like, I am way more happy for other people than I am for myself. And so I thought that was really interesting that the character said that. And what else? Queerness was like so normalized in this show. It was fucking awesome. Like, you had people experimenting. I won't say there's not like tons of characters. It's just like the family or whatever for both of the seasons. But like Josh Thomas's character is gay. I'm pretty sure he is in real life too. And they showed Matilda experimenting with girls, and it was like normalized to like no big deal. And I was like, oh my God, like why can't I see more of that on TV? But the autism thing was what shocked me the most, because I've never, ever, ever seen a TV show. I mean, like, I'm not even counting Love on the Spectrum because that's like a documentary. Kind of, yeah, I think it is. It's not like acting or anything. So this is the first time I've seen like an acting show, like movie, television, anything that portrayed autism in this manner. And what I mean by that is like, since I discovered I'm autistic, I had been on the hunt for like all kinds of different things I could find, but like television isn't really something I think I've been looking too much into. I just happened upon it. And if it wasn't for the mention in Melissa's podcast of this show, I probably would never have heard of it otherwise. But when Nicholas finally starts coming around to he's autistic, it's just like, and then he's explaining himself to his boyfriend, or what was his ex-boyfriend at the time. Like, this is kind of like, this is why I'm me. And at the end of the season 2, the last episode, Alex is like, oh, I'm so glad to see that, like, you're working on yourself. And because when he was with Nicholas, he just thought that he was too much. You can just tell that that was how the character was written, is to view Nicholas as being a bit too much. And Nicholas was like, I'm not trying to get better. Like, there is no cure for autism. Like, I'm me. I like me. And then Alex, the boyfriend, was like, oh, I didn't mean it like that, but it was already too late. And, you know, like that comment, that one line was so irritating, because it just reminds you of how little the majority of people know about autism. Is that correct to say? I don't have any stats to back that up. But I felt really sad when I heard that, and then I saw the look on Nicholas's face, and it's like, oh, you think this is something I need to change about myself, when in fact this is just who I am. And if you can't accept that, then maybe you need to go find somebody else. And I was like, why are there only 2 seasons of this? And I went to look it up, and something about how they lost viewers when they started the 2nd season or something. And I was pissed. I am pissed. I'm like, why the fuck would they cancel a show like this? Because it was just starting to get really, really, really good. Like, the whole show was good, but like, they were straight on talking about autism. Like, it was no big deal. I've never seen this before. And now the show's canceled. Like, what the fuck? Does anybody out there know of other shows that portray autism legit that I could check out? Because like, I really would like to know if like anything, because I have to admit that, like, you know, as good of a researcher as I think I am, but I still think I might not be, but I think I am not very good with researching like television, movies, stuff like that, because that's not my go-to. My go-to is like books and podcasts and articles and stuff like that. But I'd like to see more of what I watched. So please email me and let me know if there's other shows that like I need to go see, because it was such a good feeling. As awkward as I felt watching that with my wife, and she made no big deal of it. Like, I could tell that like she was a little surprised by some of what she was seeing on the TV, because like there's things that she just still doesn't understand about me. And I just have to be patient and accept that for right now. But I can't believe it. I'm sorry if this sounds like very strange or it's weird or stupid or whatever, but like, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then to find out that the show got canceled. You know, like, this is what we need. We need stuff like this to be normalized on television shows and in movies, because it is normal for us. It's just not normal for the ordinary people. I watched this movie I think it was actually called Temple Grandin, and I assume you guys have probably heard of her. I'm still trying to learn about this lady, because I've like seen that there's some people that don't really care too much for her within the autism community, but like, she's like the voice of autism, kind of. There's this movie that was like kind of made based on her life, and Claire Danes stars in it. And I don't like Claire Danes because I just don't like her acting, but this was the first thing I saw her in that like, you don't know it's Claire Danes, because she's that good at how she portrayed Temple Grandin. And when I'm watching something that is a portrayal of another human being and I don't know much about that other human being, I'll go look them up and look for video, because I want to see how good did you capture the voice, the mannerisms, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, how much homework did you do to embody this role? And I'm always just so amazed when actors are spot on with their interpretation of the character. And Claire Danes did a great job, because I was watching a Temple Grandin TED Talk, and you know, it's like, don't judge a book by its cover, because like, I have the Thinking in Pictures book by Temple Grandin, and I think on the front of that book she's like on a horse or something. I just know it's her on the front of the book. And I remember like seeing her and thinking, wow, she looks like really composed and well-to-do, and I don't know, like if that like regal, I don't know. That's just how she came off to me. And then I saw her in her TED Talk and I was like, oh my God, she's like not like that at all. She's more down to earth, personable. So anyways, I guess I just was so surprised that Claire Danes was able to get this character, at least the mannerisms and stuff. And so I liked that movie because it was about autism, kind of, mostly. Well, not really. Well, yeah. Anyways, go look it up. God. I'm confused because I remember like reading something about how the movie wasn't supposed to be about the autism, but about like her activism for like animal husbandry and like the stuff that, I don't know. You should watch it maybe or not. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. I don't know, again, how helpful any of this was. It doesn't feel like it was because I feel like I was just jumping all over the place, but who knows? But anyways, I'd like to hear your thoughts if you have seen Everything's Gonna Be Okay, or if you've just been listening anyways and you haven't seen it. Like, I really suggest that you go watch it because, I don't know, like, you don't see this kind of stuff on a regular basis on TV. So I just wanted to put it out there in case anybody wanted to go watch it or talk about the show with me. I'm really glad that Melissa mentioned it on her podcast because, like, it feels weird to say that, like, a television show has changed me because that's not really true. But, like, I don't know how to explain it. Why the fuck do I even try sometimes? I just feel very grateful that there was a show like this, even though it was only 2 seasons long. And I did feel like I saw myself because, like, I relate a lot to Josh Thomas's character. And I think it's like the character kind of seems like very similar to the character he played in his other show, Please Like Me. But I related a lot to the Nicholas character in Everything's Gonna Be Okay. And it was just another one of those moments where I couldn't believe that, like, I felt like I was seeing myself on TV. And I don't know, like, if this is ever going to get old for me. Like, is there ever going to come a time where, like, will I ever get to, like, the 50th fucking autistic TV show and the novelty has worn off for me? Like, I have no idea. It's just the craziest thing to see some version of myself anywhere coming out of somebody's mouth, seeing it on TV, because again, I've lived my life thinking it's just me, like I'm fucked up, there's nobody else out there that gets it. And then to find out that, yeah, there are people out there like you, but then to actually see that being portrayed on a television show, that's just amazing to me. I felt seen. And I would like to watch other shows like that. So let me know what those are. But that's all I've got. Hopefully this was helpful in some way. I don't know. Sorry for all the I don't knows, the dry mouth, and the you knows. I think I should say that every so often because I talk weird. Anyways, so this was just me recording into an app on my phone, hoping people find me and listen and relate. Hopefully have a similar experience to the one I had when I heard myself and someone else's podcast. And thank you for listening. Okay, goodbye.